It's Saturday, the 6th of February, 2021, and welcome to the match reaction show on the Seasiders podcast. In today's show, we're going to be talking about what we've just watched, which was, surprise, surprise, a Blackpool defeat at Portman Road. I'm John Aspinall. This is the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. Ipswich Town 2, Blackpool 0.
Ollie's already changed the world. A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. So on the intro, Ipswich Town 2, Blackpool 0. Surprise, surprise, we've lost to Ipswich and we went down without a fight. Tom, come to you first. Welcome, Tom. After listening to the match preview show yesterday, which was excellent, by the way, they're really good, the Blue Monday guys.
Yeah.
I was supremely confident coming into this because they're an extremely low ebb, poor form with what they said, they'd only beaten Burton recently, and that was just awful today, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think one way to describe it is lacklustre. Probably, toothless and lacklustre. It's just, a non-starter for me today.
Anyway, rants aside, we'll get those out there shortly. So welcome, Tom. Anyway, welcome, Matt. Good to have you back.
Thank you, guys. Welcome. Good to be back. Good to be awake and alive and all the rest of it. I was a little bit sleepy midweek, and that really should have put me to bed today. But
well,
I'm all right.
I was in a similar mindset to you today. I'm all podcasted out after the efforts in getting the Charlie interview done and dusted, so I didn't sleep very well. So I was a bit jaded, but that's made me angry watching that.
I know.
I've just seen, and I've had a couple of beers now, so I'm ready to go at it, hammer and tongue.
I'm the same, mate. It's funny, really. It's as much as we're grateful that we've got jobs in this current environment and all the rest of it, but when you have 5 or 6 sort of Zoom meetings a day and all the rest of it, it's weird how it sort of takes it out of you, weirdly, So I can fully understand those who are a little bit jaded and. I think the whole squad were on Zoom calls, weren't they, all week by the looks of things after today's performance.
They were. Nick, welcome. I'm just looking at the spike today. It's more of a kind of a...
it's gone down a bit.
It's kind of a, I don't know, like a ski lift, a ski jump today.
Yeah, it's not pointing upwards as we are no longer heading up the table after that today. I
think the spike is very indicative of Blackpool's performances, isn't it? So I think you should style the spike
according to results. It'll end up pointing down like flock of seagulls soon.
You're lucky with your hairline, Nick. I think you could probably pull that off, actually. So I think you should try it. Actually, it'd be a good little talking point, wouldn't it? So I think next week. Oh, where have your curtains gone? Your curtains have gone.
Hey, that's a good point.
Who's binging?
I've absolutely no idea. Faye's taking them down for some reason.
It looks more modern. You've been watching Changing Rooms.
Probably some shite on telly, yeah.
It's normally the shite that knocks your stream off on here as well, isn't it? So
yeah, she's under strict instructions not to be on Netflix.
Unless it's Changing Rooms.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get this out of the way. Match lineups. I think this is where we've lost this game. In fact, it is where we've lost this game. So let's quickly bring it up. So coming to you first, Tom. We've got. I'll just read the lineup. So it's Maxwell. What's that say? Lawrence what?
Lawrence Gabriel. Who's he?
Gabriel. I've gone to the BBC for the lineups.
That is the lineup.
Yeah,
Gabriel.
I'm just saying. Yeah, well, is that his name? Lawrence Gabriel. Is he another double barreler? Is he? Clearly is. Yeah. So yeah, Gabriel at right back, Potato Thornley in the middle, Husband at left back. Virtue Thick Why would you use that? You just drop it. On the right,
Describe
Stewart and Dougal. Kai got him playing on the left, didn't really play there. Embleton in front of the midfield and Yates up top on his own. So I think that's where we've lost the game, Tom, from the moment before a ball's kicked.
Yeah, spot on. I think me and Matt were talking previously. I think if you've only got one change to make, and that's Medine, he did that on Tuesday and put Sims in. He was lively, had a few shots and caused trouble, and he actually looked like a more experienced League One striker than we've had sort of in the past.
He's a like-for-like replacement in that formation, isn't he?
For sure. And we've just won 2 in a row on the back of a few bad results. Pre-Christmas sort of momentum picking up again, climbing the table, and then he's decided to be clever and think I'm going to change the world again, and it's had such the reverse effect on the team. And yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, we could have turned up a lot more than we did today, but it doesn't help when you play a system which I still can't work out what we played when Gabriel was our main attacker most of the game.
The graphic on the screen states it's I don't know what it is. It's a 4-1-1. Is that an accurate reflection of what we saw?
I think BBC are probably just guessing as we are, but I think Virtue's got to stop playing out wide. You either play someone else there, and don't get me wrong,
push Gabriel forward and play Turner right back. Why play?
I've said it many times. I'd like to see Mitchell on the wing, and Kai just needs to go to the academy and get Holmes in because he's next to useless. And he started Embleton over Sims, and Sims has got to be scratching his head a little bit despite being on loan. He's got to start. So a few bad decisions in the team today, but not only that, it's added to the fact that the team didn't turn up as well. So I don't know anyone else's opinion on the team, but it was the wrong choice for me.
Matt, let's come to you next. That famous saying that Steve McMahon and many others have come out with, square pegs in round holes in a couple of spots there for me.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a surprise to see Embleton. I mean, we don't know anything about him, quite frankly. Obviously, Critchley knows more about him than we do. But at the end of the day, he's got players in the, let's say the 17 that were playing today, or available today, that were, or 16, whatever it was, that were, he knew more about in terms of a game situation. So, he could have played one or two other different players. For me, I don't think it was a 4-4-1-1. I think it's more of a 4-2-3-1. My observation from the previous match was that Virtue was, he isn't a naturally wide right player. So, no, he isn't. It's as simple as that. He isn't. He isn't.
Let's be right. I'll explain him there. Why?
It is. And I think he's playing him for playing sake because he likes the guy. And I don't think, I like the guy. But it's a case of square pegs and round holes. So if you like the guy that much, you play him in his preferred position. Now, it's difficult at the moment because obviously Dougal, Stewart, possibly are the best two central midfielders we've got. But in saying that, on recent weeks, you've got to consider one or two of them. Actually, one of them particularly, who, Tim won't like us saying this, actually hasn't done a lot over the last few weeks. So therefore, would you think Virtue should be the best with Stewart and then play possibly a proper wide right midfielder? I don't know.
You've got to drop Stewart or Dougal there, and you? Because for me, I'd drop Dougal because he had a bad game today, and his form was dipped.
It's hindsight to a part, but when I saw the lineup, irrespective of Virtue, it wasn't Virtue that struck me as the sort of like the main issue. The main issue for me was the fact that, as you've touched on, we didn't replace Medine with a like for like, and the only like for like we've got is Ellis Sims. So therefore, you put Ellis Sims in place of Medine, and therefore you play 4-4-2, and you've got a focal point. So you've got a focal point with Ellis Sims, and it makes Jerry Yates a different player, and so on and so forth, and I'm sure we'll go on and discuss that. So when I saw the lineup, that was my only concern, was that it was just different from what we've done over the last few weeks, and the last few weeks have obviously been quite successful. So, why change it? But he has.
Nick, I'll come to you next. We've got, as Matt's alluded to there, we've won our last 2 games, 7 goals. He's gone. Tom, you'll have to take this question. He's probably put changing rooms on again. So, Tom, we've scored 7 goals, conceded none. We've got a formation nailed, which has worked well for us all season. So why has he changed it to accommodate players and play these square pegs in round holes? It just it twists your melon, man.
He said before, and I think this is where, well, excuse me, I've got the wrong words, but it's where the arrogance comes in. He said, I pick the team which I think is best to beat the opposition. Well, why don't you just pick the team that's winning and they worry about us rather than we worry about them? Because, like you said, the Northampton game was pretty poor, but we came through it and we won, and the Wigan game was brilliant. And why would you not want to keep the same team? There were some poor performances today in general, or the whole team, should I say, mainly. But I think, like you say, it's a domino effect from picking a team which is completely different and starting a player which hasn't played for ages. I know he's done that with Stewart in the last 2 games, and he wasn't great today, but he showed he can perform. And Embleton didn't really get to grips with the game. He had a couple of decent spells and passes, but he clearly was off pace, and he should have changed it way earlier to try and impact the game, and he just hasn't done that. So I think it's a little bit of inexperience and a little bit of arrogance to maybe think he's going to outsmart the opposition. I don't know, but we've said this before, 4-4-2 worked. It's worked in the past. With the last 2 games we've won, and he's decided to go and change it, and it's just peeing everyone off.
Nick, over to you. I believe Faye's put changing rooms on again, so you've just dipped out.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've got my signal booster on as well, so I may cut out at any point, but we'll see. I think you've probably covered it off already, but you made a good point in the start, John, and I thought the same. As soon as I saw the lineup, I just thought we've probably lost this with that formation, and why would you change it when we've been picking up points the way we've been playing? It was just unnecessary for me, and it's not under 23s, it's not under 10s on a Saturday morning. It's League One, and we can't just turn up with any old formation as poor as Ipswich have been, and expect to get a result. And I just thought we gave him a massive boost before we kicked a ball, and Jerry Yates is going to have a frustrating afternoon. And so it proved. Midfield creativity wasn't there. Dougal looks like he's still got a hangover from COVID. There's not a lot of creativity going on there. You're pushing Virtue out wide, and he isn't effective. He's effectively taken 2 players out of the game there, Nick. He's taken Yates out of the game, and he's taken Virtue out of the game. So he's taking 2 of our key players out of the game with that team he's picked today. On that formation. And you're just not going to get a result doing that. So, it was poor.
Right, let's move on to the game itself then. Let's get the match action up, if we must. So let's get the first chance of the game, which were two floated. Let's get you off, Nick.
Yeah.
Right, gents. So first 2 big chances for Blackpool. It was a big chance. Tom quite early on in the game in the first half. Great ball in from Kai from our left there, right. Swung into the back post. It's beat the last defender and right onto Marv's forehead. And given the fact he scored 2 in the last 2 games, you'd expect him to put that away, and he's put it wide.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I think he's fallen backwards as he goes to header it, and that's just caused it to go wide of the post. And I think it's a poor miss. It's a half decent connection on the head. I think it's just timed it slightly wrong when he's fallen backwards, but you've got to take those chances. I suppose it is a gilt-edged chance early in the game, and we can take control from there. But unfortunately, it's fallen wide, and we haven't really created much from there. But I will say it's probably Kai's biggest contribution in the game was that cross.
Yeah,
decent ball, but it didn't add much after that. But it's a goal you like to see to go in, but it's one of those chances which you probably don't. I probably expected to go in, to be fair, but you can't really blame him for his body position, I suppose.
I mean, that miss aside, he was our best player today. I mean, we'll go to man of matches later, but I think he was our best player. bunch of poor performance. Matt, let's come to you next. Let's just talk about Kai for a minute. What did you think? And you've just muted himself. So
yeah, it's all right. I was just clearing my throat. That's all. Yeah, to be honest, I thought the first 15 to 20 minutes, I thought he had a good start to the game. And to be honest, the left-hand side of the pitch was, how can I put it? At the start of the season, when CJ Hamilton and whoever was playing right back, whether that be Turton or Gabriel, everything was going down the right-hand side. But the last couple of 3 games, it's been a case of things going down the left-hand side, but just not quite having the right sort of, chemistry, I suppose, really. And to be fair, I mean, you've got a guy in Kai who's played, I don't know, I'm guessing at 100 league games by now, at least, or thereabouts. And Husband, who's played, goodness knows how many. And they're up against somebody on the left-hand side of midfield for Ipswich, who I don't know much about, and an 18-year-old from a Premier League club who's pretty much playing his first League One game, I think. And it started off like we were in control of things, and this is where we could sort of, bully them down the left-hand side. And it started off like that. But, in the first 15 to 20 minutes, we looked good. Kai was doing a lot of interaction with Husband, and we were doing all right. And his ball into Ekpiteta, as you mentioned earlier, was good. And it all looked rosy. And then typically, like it does, it just sort of fades away. And that's the annoying thing about where we are at the moment. Instead of pressing on and pushing on and taking advantage of the situation, we just sort of disappeared. 35 minutes into the game, it was like, that was it. That's my game over. I'll just sort of slip into mediocrity again. Yep. So disappointing, That's it. That's all I can say.
Nick, let's come to you. The start of game, Blackpool started brightly, as Matt's alluded to there. We've had a couple of decent balls into the box. The first from Kai, or the second from Kai as well.
Yeah,
which was a chance. It was a different ball in. It's like whipped it in at the near post this time, and Husband's made a connection, and he's not made the right connection with the ball for me.
No, he made a bit.
Do you know what I mean? And it was a great ball in it. It was another good chance.
It was 2 very good deliveries from Kai, to be fair. And yeah, and we don't take those chances. And I think Matt was just saying then, and after that, it was just, that was pretty much it. They got their goal. You expect a reaction in the second half, and it just didn't come. Half-time bongs again. And it was really, really frustrating. And I think it shows that we're probably not, good enough for going up, because we can't put the consistent run of results together. But I think the selection today was part of that. We didn't give ourselves our best chance.
It's hard to argue with that. So that was our main thrust in the game. It was the main area of the game where we've had chances, and it all just petered out into a mediocrity at best after that. And they were kind of in the ascendancy towards the end of the first half. Luke Thomas should have scored on 34 minutes. He's dragged it wide. He should have hit the target, Tom, shouldn't he? And they should have been 1-0 up quite easily, I think, there.
Yes, it's a pretty... I expected that to go in the net, and when it went wide, I was just like, what's happened? But it's just a poor connection, and we got let off. We should have took advantage of that, but we didn't. Yeah, should have been 1-0.
We didn't learn from that.
No.
Matt, and yeah, we've not learned, have we just said? And Alan Judge just put them ahead on 43 minutes, just 2 minutes before the break. A long ball over the top. Where was Husband? Decent finish from Judge, to be fair. He's caught the keeper. He's caught Maxwell. Maybe it's because he's shot away so quick, but it was a good finish. And I think.
Yeah, he's a good player, Judge. I liked him when I say I liked him. Obviously, I didn't like him at all when they beat us 4-1 at our place. But you know what I mean. He's a good pro, and he's one of those players that you wish you had him in your squad. Really, I think he's a very good player, and it was a poor goal to concede. I just thought that, and I mentioned this on the chat that we had. I just thought we were sort of like floating through the first half. I think our players thought, actually, we're not up against much here. And therefore, I won't put as much effort in. And I might be really critical. And, well, that's how it appeared. And I might be wrong. I'd like to think I am wrong. And it was just a great bit of play by them. But I don't think it was. It was a bit poor defending. Not sure if Maxwell was 100% in the right position for it. For us to concede a goal, which I think it was the guys last night who were on the podcast were saying, was it 20 games? I think that they haven't scored before half time.
It was the first time they've been leading at half time. And the last time was when they were leading against us at Blackpool Road. So they've never been leading a game. They've never been leading a game at half time since last time they played us.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I'm sure if people listen back to various other podcasts that we've done, I'm not Husband's biggest fan. I never have been. I think he's a player that, I'm going to be quite upfront about. I just don't think he's good enough, full stop. I think he's a player who is clever, in inverted commas, but just not good enough. And therefore, if Garbutt is fit, I would play him every day of the week, irrespective of his defensive responsibilities.
So we've got Garbutt on the bench. Why would anyone like to throw an opinion in as to why he wasn't playing or starting? Injured?
Garbutt,
just a tactical.
He was injured last game. I know Medina's got a knock. I could be out for a couple of weeks. Maybe Garbutt had the same, and he decided to keep Husband there because we kept a clean sheet. But I think what Matt summed it up. I think Tim or someone gave him a 7 on Tuesday, and for me, he made some terrible decisions Tuesday as well. He overplays things. There was a couple of times today when he could just go back to Maxwell. He's got the ball, just give it back to Maxwell, but he's trying to turn the defender, and he's played us right into trouble. He just makes the worst decisions. And yes, Kai plays a horrendous ball for their goal, but he's literally walking back. He's literally just doing this. And, and he unleashes a shot early doors, and there's no commitment there. If not, just bring him down or at least go for the ball. But he's literally at a canter going back. And like I said, you've just got to play someone there who's a bit more savvy to counter attack.
It seems to, Matt, I'll just come to you in a sec. It seems to happen regularly, this, doesn't it? He seems to be regularly vulnerable to these just balls over the top, and he's in no man's land and he's chasing back. I mean, let's think back and how many times has this happened this season? So Matt, over to you. You was about to say something.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say I'll just pick up on a comment that Tangerine Rob's put in about Kai wasting the pass, which led to the goal. And I did pick up on that myself at the time, is that it was just a lazy ball in the middle of the park where we had a 3-on-2, I think, or a 4-on-3 or something like that. Whereas, if we'd have done that, then it would have been a completely different situation. However, coming back to the defensive sort of frailties of Husband, and I think that's what it is. He has defensive frailties. We've seen it at the start of the season where he got sent off, and goodness knows what else he was capable of doing at that particular time. It's getting personal. I just don't think I think there's much better, solid players out there than James Husband, and I think that he's no better defender than Garbutt, and Garbutt's got his defensive frailties. So therefore, if Garbutt can offer you more in an attacking sense, which I think he does, I would pick Garbutt if he's fit. Obviously,
MB's raised a similar comment to you there, Matt. He's just put Garbutt is suspect potentially. Positionally in that position.
Don't disagree.
Yeah,
don't disagree.
But Nick, as Matt said, far better going forward, and he never seems as exposed as Husband.
No, he doesn't. And we've had similar debates, haven't we, for the other side as well, and with Turton and Gabriel. And yeah, for me, Husband, he's caught out of position a lot. And today, I mean, you've got to say the pass from Kai was the main issue, because we're breaking, and I'm thinking we could be in here. There's a couple of good options he's got, and it's a poor pass. and then all of a sudden they're up the other end. But I don't know what Husband's doing charging forward in that. It's almost like schoolboy football where you whack it forward and everybody chases after the ball. Yeah, he had a poor game today, and I think Garbutt, yeah, like Matt says, he's no worse at defending, and he gives us a lot more going forward, as Gable does on the other side. But he doesn't seem to like playing them both together. It's one on one side, and then it's either Husband or Turton start with one of the other. And I don't. Again, it's not our strongest lineup doing that for me.
I think we need a new left back, and we should have Garbutt as a left winger. We should just go for a Craney style, solid, proper defending left back. That's what we're crying out for.
Yeah, it's funny really, because I was listening to obviously listen to the Ipswich commentary today, and obviously they know about Garbutt as much as we do, and they were saying pretty much the same thing really. He's not a left back and he's not a left midfielder. So where do you play him? You're obviously playing then, I guess, in a 3-5-2. Which, if we're not going to play 3-5-2, then why have him on our books? I suppose it's one of those that, when you look at the situation that we're in currently, is he just signed to the end of the season, possibly?
I think it was a 1 year deal, wasn't it?
Yeah. So if he is,
Cook's last foot just put a decent comment out. He never puts more than 2 games together. He is a bit of a sick note, isn't he?
Yeah. That's the problem with him. If he's not fit enough, and if he doesn't fit into the situation and the position, then you're never going to go in the summer and say, right, here you go, Luke. Here's a 2-year deal. Sign here, please. Thanks very much. And that's going to be to his detriment ultimately. So we're stuck with Husband. We're stuck with Garbutt, and I think we're stuck with him.
Where's Phil when you need him? It's that
we've just got to make a decision.
We're just stuck with them. We're just stuck with them.
Well, sorry, Tom. Go on.
No, I just think the only time, I say the only time, Husband's been okay in spells this season, and he was decent against Wigan because Wigan was shit. And it's as simple as that, really. Labala and him worked actually quite well together, and he's set a virtue's goal, and fair enough. But his positional responsibility is pathetic, and his balls over the top. He might as well just be watching telly when they come over, because he's nowhere near them, and he's just looking up and up and up. The ball bounces, and then defenders in behind him, and he tries to be too clever. He's a good tackler. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes he's sometimes an horrendous tackler and sometimes a good tackler. But like you said, he isn't good enough if we want to get promotion. We've let Callum McDonald go, as someone said in the chat previously, Mitch. And we just haven't got a proper left back. And I wouldn't play Garbutt there. I would play Garbutt left mid. I'd play him. Yeah, we need a proper left back. And you're right. If we've signed Garbutt for a specific reason, can you please tell us what that specific reason is?
Yeah, I think Nick, you've alluded to that in the past, haven't you? Saying it was one of those, if he's available, he's available, so let's get him kind of thing.
Yeah, I think when we signed him, Critchley said something along the lines of, if it had been sooner, we may not have signed, whoever else we'd signed in that position before. And I think they've just seen him and thought, it's too good to turn down. But I just think we need to get settled in those positions, and who's the best players for that position, and play them if they're available. Just play them, and don't tinker with it too much. I totally get Saturday, Tuesday, and we have to use the squad, but I think at the same time, play your best players in your best position wherever you can.
I'm just reading that comment there from BFC Summers. If you're on the bench behind Kai at the minute, you'd be sick. I mean, it's hard to argue.
It's right, though. I don't know what he's got to do to be dropped, apart from smash the ball into our own net. He's literally telling the manager to drop him. If Phil was here, I'd like to see 3 points about why he's on the pitch. And if the argument beyond he's playing out of position infuriates me, because a good player will track back, take on a man, pass the ball, shoot well, cross, regardless what position you're in. So playing him in number 10 is just going to make him more shit in the middle.
There's no room for him in the team. There's no room for him in this team.
There isn't. No, not at the moment. Don't get me wrong. He needs to find the confidence he had, like the goal he scored against Coventry, year or so ago, and the Fleetwood game where that hell of a free kick, which was a cross or a shot. But we lacked creativity today, regardless. Don't get me wrong, but he just didn't add to that. And his final ball, apart from the cross for Marv's, the shot on the corner he had, his final ball is absolutely pathetic as well. So Sully did all right. He tried to create stuff, and like Matt said, in the first 15 minutes, he actually was quite lively. But other than that, he's faded away.
Well, yeah, exactly. He has these 15 minutes of creativity and positive play and makes things happen. And then he just fades. He just fades, doesn't he? And it's
that like I said, there isn't it's personal towards Sully because he's been poor all season. We were rubbish today, and like I said, we lack creativity in general. But who created me other than Sully? Not many people, if any at all. Apart from Gabriel, I thought Gabriel was very lively today. But my point was in the chat, do you sort of criticise Gabriel because he was playing most of the game as a winger? So I don't know who was playing behind him. So I don't know what the shape was today. So it was more like a 3-5-2.
I mean, let's talk quickly about Ollie Turton. And for me, he's been one of our most consistent performers this season. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. I think he's been hard done to, being just booted out of the team unceremoniously. He's barely put a foot long. Matt, you're grimacing at that comment. Penny for your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. It's just, to me, it just comes down to what is our best shape and our best players. Because I don't think there's much, quite frankly, between somebody like Ollie Turton and Jordan Gabriel. I really don't. I think both of them, you could argue, have had good points and bad points all season. So they are obviously decent fullbacks. But I think both of them need players who are proper right wingers in front of them. I don't think either of them are good players if they don't have a CJ Hamilton or another in front of them. And today was very typical of that. I thought, well, not to just today, but the last 3 games when Virtue's played in front of Gabriel. I think Gabriel's lost in that he is he goes forward and he just doesn't sort of do anything. It's really depressing because I think there's a lot more about them. The pair of them, and if they don't have anybody in front of them, it doesn't give them the opportunity to do that. So
it's one or the other, that position, isn't it, Matt? And for me, a right back is primarily there to stop goals from that left-hand flank of the opposition. And I think Turton's better. I think Turton's better than Gabriel as a defender. That's my opinion. But if he's got CJ,
the one thing that we haven't,
it's not a problem.
The one thing we haven't seen this year is Turton with Gabriel in front of him.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'd rather have that than Matty Virtue there on the right.
John, you're spot on. I think Gabriel wants, and we saw today, that freedom because he was in their box more than Yates was. Yeah. And we're sitting here deciding whether Gabriel should play on the wing or not. Just sums up where we've gone wrong this season because we have not seen our team. We haven't seen our team at its best, in my opinion. Apart from we went on that big run at 4-4-2 when we played a proper system with the players that should be playing there, not tinkering at all. And
the annoying thing is, we've got the players. We've got the players.
Yeah, I think we have as well. I think that's it. I think we have got the players, but I think we've just got the selection wrong, and we've today. I mean, goodness me! I mean, we're playing against a side, and Tom was talking to the guys last night on the podcast. We're talking about a team who haven't won at home for goodness knows how long. They've only scored they haven't had a lead for 20 games in the league so far. They're really on the backsides in terms of where they are. And after 15 minutes, you could see that the confidence was coming back into their play, whereas we were just meandering through that first half, and you just thought this is where we need to sort of push on and do something. And irrespective of who was playing for us, I just thought we were just so poor today, really were.
I think Bison's point is it's not. Yeah, we are talking. That's what I just said. We're not talking about fullbacks as wingers. I think we don't know our best team, and we just think that they're not. Yeah, the squad isn't good enough in terms of the defensive recruitment. Don't get me wrong, but I think Gabriel's a hell of a player, and I think his streets ahead of Turton. But if you just want a defender there, you play Turton there as much as I want it. But I'd rather see Gabriel on the pitch, if that makes sense, in terms of attack and prowess. Because if not, we won't create anything today. If we didn't have Gabriel, we might have lost 4 or 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, the right-hand side's not the problem area. So obviously, CJ missing is a problem to some extent, but the left's been a big problem all season, hasn't it, Nick? Like, right, quick, Nick, you can have your say quickly before you disappear again. I don't know what the hell's going on with your connection.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it has been, and I think some of it's avoidable, like Matt was just saying. But he likes to tinker with it, doesn't it? It's what he likes to do. Whether he's going to learn as we go through the season and, stop doing it, I don't know, because I think it's like today, that's cost us. That's part of what's cost us today. And, look at the size of the squad. We've got the players in there, but he just wants to tinker about with it. And I don't get it when we've been on, probably, I don't know how many points we've taken in the last 10 games or so, but that 4-4-2 was working for us, and just don't.
It'd be good if we had some
change
stats.
from it.
It would be good if we had some stats, points gained playing that 4-4-2 against all these times when he's tinkered.
We know the stats. We went on that unbeaten run, 1-8 out of 9. Played West Brom in the cup, beat them. Played, we played Fleetwood. They're unbelievable at home at the time, and we went there and they didn't have a shot. Portsmouth didn't have a shot. Don't get me wrong, Dougal was playing 10 times better than he was, and like I said, hopefully he gets back to some normality in terms of fitness. But that for me, I said this to Matt, and I'm not calling the critics head by any way, shape, or form, so don't shoot me down. But for me, it just shows the inexperience of the manager. And if we don't move as quickly as we want, and he doesn't know his first 11, then we need to make decisions quickly based on what's going to happen. Because if we finish 12th to 15th of the season, improvement next season is going to be 12th to 6th, maybe. I don't know. And if we can't sign loads of players again, because Matt's right, we'll go back to square one. And if we don't sign many players but keep the same manager, and we come and we're still 12th to 15th, he still doesn't know his first team. So where do you go with that? So he needs to learn his lesson really quickly, because he's not going to be a League One manager come the end of the season if he continues to tinker with a winning side.
I mean, let's talk about resilience, because we've gone down a goal again today. We've come out, we've had half-time bongs again, and we never look like we're going to come back into the game after we go down, do we? Let's, Gillingham, Shrewsbury, Bristol Rovers, and Nick, the half-time bong thing, we joke about it, but it's happening again and again and again.
Yeah, and I don't understand it. You'd expect to, you're going 1-0 down at half time, and it's like, right, we need a reaction second half, get a spell of pressure, and it just didn't happen, and doesn't seem to happen, and it's really frustrating when you're looking on the bench and thinking, right, on the group chat there was loads of messages, get so and so on, make some subs, and it seems to be too late in the game, and obviously we go 2-0 down pretty early on in the second half. And
sorry, Nick, just to break you in the middle. Steve Hutchins said it was game over after 2-0, wasn't it? And Nick, it wasn't it? You just knew we were never going to come back.
No, I'm thinking, well, what time's the rugby on at that point? Because we're just we're not coming back from that, and heads go down, and you've got, like we said at the start, Sim sat on the bench, and it's really, really frustrating, and you want to see him coming on a bit sooner, and just a bit of urgency about it, and he doesn't react quick enough for me, and it's happened quite a lot this season, hasn't it, where we're saying, substitutions in the 70th minute or whatever, and it's too late.
It was it was what 30 odd minutes, and I
Let's
just
just rewind a minute. Let's talk about the goal before we go on to the substitutions. So piss poor marking. Jerry Yates has flicked it on. No one's picked him up, but that wasn't the only chance around that time. You'd think when they'd scored that they'd learn, but the defence was an absolute shit show.
Yeah,
that 10-15 minute period could have been 3 or 4-0.
Yeah, it's Bristol Rovers all over again. And I watched in the game. Sorry, I watched the goal, and I said, I'm sure Jerry Yates has headed that backward. Like, I don't know how he's. I'm not going to say Yates has been rubbish or whatever, but it's just a really bad header, and it's gone all the way to the back post without the keeper or anyone touching it. And there's three players on that post, and one of them's going to head it in. And I just sat there in disbelief. And at that point, like you said, it just summed up the performance today. It was piss poor.
Yeah, and Matt needs a piss, so that's quite a good little segue. And off he goes.
That wasn't intentional.
Nick, let's raise the halftime bong issue again. I mean, why does this keep happening? Why?
Like you say, we joke about it, but I really don't know. It's a bizarre one because it's quite a regular occurrence, isn't it? Where we're going at half time and we're thinking, right, there's going to be something in the second half, and we're just all over the place. You'd like to be a fly on the wall, that's for sure, and hear what they talk about. Yeah, it's a bizarre one. It really is. And
I mean, is it a motivational issue from the manager? Because he doesn't strike me as the type of guy that commands sort of fear and respect in the dressing room. Calderwood maybe, but not him.
Yeah, you think between
the need to look at.
That's it. You think between the
as Bison's just said there,
the two of them. If he's not doing it, you think maybe Calderwood might be, giving them a bit of a rocket, a bit of the hairdryer treatment, so to speak. But it's whatever's happening. It's not working. And
how many points does that cost us this season? These fucking terrible starts. I mean, there's several games where they've just scored like bang, first 5 minutes. And that was it. The game's over. It's gone.
Too many.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the substitutions then. And I think on our WhatsApp group, everyone was crying out. Tim's having a Ponzi dinner party tonight, so he can't come in on his normal rant about the substitutions. But this game was crying out for Sims to come on, just to give Jerry Yates some support up top and bring Yates back into the game.
Yeah,
give Yates a chance. And he's made the Mitchell for Virtue. All right, take Virtue off because you're playing him out of position, but that was just fucking weird.
Yeah, well, for me, the game was screaming for 4-4-2 and Sims to play up front before the game started at a woeful Ipswich side. And at 30 odd minutes, I put in the chat, this game is screaming for a 4-4-2 because their defence is a bit rabbit in headlights type of thing. And if you can't see it at half time, and if you want to make a statement and impact the game after going 1-0 down, and he didn't do it at 60 minutes, then he brings on Mitchell for Virtue, and then he waits to the 70th minute. That just shows his inexperience. I don't know what was going for. Someone try and explain, other than arrogance or the inability to see a football match in the flesh, because you're watching that game and you can't be going, "We're playing all right here, boys." Yeah, because we're not. How can we all see that? And then he's going, "Oh shit! There's 10 minutes to go. I better make
all right.
substitution."
Tom, I'll come back to you. You're saying it's kind of inexperience, but it's just common sense. Or is anyone with half a fucking football brain to see what's going on? Isn't it?
Inexperience,
stupidity. It can't be an experience because he's been around the game. It's something else. It's lack of footballing brain ability. I don't know.
That's where he's done that all season, and that's that's what I can't get over sometimes with Critchley. He's done that all season. If Tim was here, like you said, he'll be backing that up. But all season he's made a triple substitution, a double substitution, took off the wrong players, and he's very rarely got it right. Probably Hull sticks in my mind where we did start to play a little bit better with the team he brought on. But I can't name a game where he's brought on a sub and he's made a really decent impact that game. And yeah, he's done the same thing today, and not only has he got the team sheet wrong, he's not seen where he needs to change quickly, and that's what's going to cost us all season, and that's why we're not good enough to go up in terms of having an impact on each game we play.
Matt, Nick, what do you think of the substitutions? We made the change we'd been crying out for. What was it, on 72 minutes? Sims came on, but it was too late by then, and he barely touched the ball.
No, it's too late. For me, I'd have done it at half time. Because what's the point in waiting for 10 or 15 minutes? And lo and behold, you go 2-0 down, and then it's like, right, it's game over. Whereas if you do something at half time, you can maybe be on the front foot and influence the game a bit and maybe get a point out of it. But he just wants to sit and wait. And I don't, like you say, what's he looking at, thinking, oh, I'm going to leave this because it looks okay and it looks like we're getting back into it. Well, we're not. We're not doing anything. So why wait? It's, you know,
2-0 down as well, aren't you? You're 2-0
yeah,
down.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It really is. But hey ho, we've got a game on Tuesday to put it right, haven't we? And hopefully it'll be back to a 4-4-2 and we pick up 3 points.
There were a couple more changes. Dougal and Labala came on 82 minutes. Sorry, Ward and Labala came on for Dougal and Embleton on 82 minutes. Let's just quickly talk about Embleton. Has anyone got an opinion on what they saw today?
I thought he did all right. I think he was. He seemed to be like an upgrade on Woodburn, but whether he's the answer to certain problems that we have, I'm not sure. I don't know where he would fit in if Medine would fit. I think if Medine, Yates, and therefore where would Embleton fit in? I don't think he would fit in anywhere particularly. I don't know. I might be wrong.
It'd be a better winger than Virtue, wouldn't he? I'm not blaming Virtue because he's a decent centre midfielder, but he's definitely going to be a better winger than him.
Well, yeah, possibly. I mean, quite frankly, you might be right, Tom. He could play left or right. I mean, you've got Virtue or Kai, hasn't he, to replace? But I don't think he had a bad game. You know, he did okay. He was certainly involved in a lot of our good things in the first 25 minutes or so, and he was equally, you know, potentially one of those players that you think, right, okay, well, he's got something about him that he could unlock a defence. But I don't know. He's not. I'm going to harp back to this, but I think back to January the 31st or whenever the deadline was, I think we were all crying out for a new Keane in Dewsbury Hall, and he isn't that. And that's what we're still missing. So
nailed it for me there, Matt.
I thought first half he was okay. You know, he got that shot away, didn't he? But then I think he faded as the game went on. But he's probably not played much football for them, has he? I don't think. He maybe in the Pizza Cup, and that's about it. So it's maybe no surprise as the game went on that he faded. But yeah, he was okay. But there was a lot like that today, wasn't there?
I mean, speaking of faded, Tom's just sent me a private message saying he needs a piss, so I'll fade him out. There you go.
Have you been on the lash, you lot, this afternoon?
Yeah. We needed to.
I've had 2 drinks. I had a piss just before I came on, but just as an aside, I was when me and Tim were interviewing Charlie the other day, I was bursting for a piss in the last half an hour. I was like, oh my God, I can't leave Charlie on his own. You know, well, obviously Tim had been there, but so I had to hold it in. So yeah, let's just wrap this up now and move on to player ratings. The game was a damp squib. Last 10 minutes, we knew we weren't going to score. So let's move on to the player ratings. Matt, let's start with you. The keeper, Chris Maxwell, potentially at fault for the first?
Well, potentially. I mean, yeah, potentially. But, you know, I'll be honest. I think he's the only player, maybe with the exception of 2 others, that I'll give anything other than anyway, I'm going to give him 6. So I'm going to put the gradings there, that if anybody gets higher than a 6, I'll be bloody surprised. All right, so Maxwell 6,
think Spud might get higher than a 6. Jordan Gabriel.
Well, I was going to say I thought Gabriel and it's probably Gabriel and Marv who were, but I say stand out, not in the sense that they were brilliant, because nobody was. But he tries to get forward when he can and make things happen. I'll go 6 plus.
Shall we do what Jeff said here? I think it's a fair shout.
Well, I thought that before the show. I thought it's probably 5s and the odd 6 and 4.
You got there was
Gabriel, I think.
Yeah, well, we said on Tuesday. I think we gave Husband and a couple of others a 7. So if you're giving Husband a 7 for Tuesday, you give everyone a 5 and a 4. Apart from Epicate, who for me was a 7. He did make a couple of mistakes, don't get me wrong, but he didn't really put a foot wrong defensively, and he saved another goal. Maybe he should have scored, so he gets a 7. And Gabriel gets a 7 for pure endeavour and trying to make something happen. So 2 7s and 9 5s.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste my time this evening in doing these ratings. I can't be arsed because it was just shit. So everyone gets a 5 apart from Marv and Gabriel. So let's just do man of the matches then. Tom, man of the match.
Yeah, just to shut Bison's up, I'll give it to Marv's or Gabriel. I'll go Gabriel based on his like I said, endeavour to try and get stuff done. But both of those were half decent. So if everyone were at their level, then we would have scored. So
Matt.
He's thinking about it.
Sorry, my stream just went then. I wasn't falling asleep on you or anything. That's the
first of this show, isn't it? Someone's falling asleep watching it.
All I saw was John having a drink, and then that was it. The screen froze up, so I wasn't sure whether that was it or not. Anyway, I think what you were asking me for was whether you agreed with Tom. And Marv for me was the man of the match. I think he had 1 or 2 dodgy little touches, but he got himself out of trouble. I think Gabriel gets the sort of highlights because he goes past the halfway line a little bit. But I mean, Marv he's so consistent now, which when you think about where he was in September. Honestly, I saw it. Nobody else did. I'm the god of centre halves. Just leave it at that.
I'll hold my hands up. I slagged him off. I'm putting it down.
I saw it as well. You'd made your mind up after 3 games, John.
I was right about the League One leggy donkey, though, wasn't I?
We'll give you that one. I'll go Marv as well. Because, it's slim pickings, isn't it? Let's be honest. But yeah, it was Marv for me.
That's a clean sweep of the board because Marv also gets my man of the match. I think a lot of the comments.
Can I just add, John, before I forget about this? I thought he sort of summed our season up today when the net broke and the referee went off with a hamstring injury, and all I was thinking was Sunday League football.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Once when I played for Roseacre, we had a top of the table crunch match against Arnold, and we scored 1-0 up. Don't forget his name, Matty Pearson. He did some work around there. He smashed the ball. He smashed it in, went just inside the post, went through the netting, just where it was in the match today. And the Arnold schoolmaster went, goal kick! And there was uproar. I was almost running, trying to whack him with her umbrella. It was so funny. Yeah,
I was hoping it. Sorry, John. I was hoping it was going to be match abandoned. I hope they've got no gaffer tape. We'll get it called off.
He did actually bring gaffer tape on as well.
That was the only way we were going to get any points today from that game, anyway. Right, next up, we've got Burton away on Tuesday. It's a perfect team to be playing to show some bounce back ability. So, gents, surely we're going to get 3 points against this lot. They're an absolute shower.
They've just beaten Hull.
They just beat Hull.
They didn't. Have they?
Yeah.
John's going to be a meme on Tuesday night.
Yeah. Signed a few players, didn't they?
They have.
Yeah, they've signed a few players, and they've just
been a winner as well.
they're going to be up for it. If Northampton caused us a couple of problems, they're certainly going to do the same. So we need to be on the ball. And if we show any intention of improving this team or pushing up the table, then we haven't got any excuse other than to get 3 points. So
I think if Medine's back, we are such a different team, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I think if he's back, then we'll be all right. But without him, he's got to play Sims. Just for a bit of similarity, if nothing else. So we'll see.
A bit of similarity.
Simsilarity. Exactly.
Where's that tumbleweed? Right, so we're going to be coming back on Tuesday with a match reaction show. But viewers, keep saying that. But viewers, we've got something big happening tomorrow. You may have seen it all over Twitter. We've got an interview with the one and only Charlie Adam, an exclusive interview. He's never talked purely about Blackpool FC before. And Charlie was kind enough to do this for us. It was recorded in the week with me and Tim. It's got a bit of a trailer now that Sam's put together. It's bloody brilliant. It's inspiring stuff. So I'm just going to flick this on.
Charlie Adam beats Osborne. Bogatet's trying to get back, but Adam goes all the way, and that is 3-0. Charlie Adam.
Hi, I'm Charlie Adam. Watch the Seasiders podcast YouTube channel at 8 p.m. this Sunday to see an interview with me about my great time at Blackpool Football Club.
Giving it to Adam, who chips it!
Those corner kicks are worth 10 million.
Inspiring stuff, isn't it? That's the sort of uplifting thing you need after watching that load of crap tonight. So,
Definitely.
What we wouldn't do for him in the centre of the park.
You get a load of
never go back.
a lot of fucking idiot saying 2 years ago you can't put him in this team. Yes, you fucking can. It's still run the show.
He performed better by himself than the fucking 11 did today.
Yeah, never go back. Whatever. So yeah, everybody, that's coming on our YouTube channel tomorrow at 8 p.m. That's part 1, where Charlie talks about on loan and the Championship season, the playoff final. So that's the first part was over 2 hours, so we split it into 2 parts, and the second part is on I think it's the Monday at 8. So that's exclusively on the YouTube channel. So I'd suggest you like, subscribe, and you hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss it. That has gone out to our Patreon members first. That went out in the week, so they've all seen it, and they've also had the podcast. So yeah, they had the honour of sitting in a room with Charlie, and it was great for him to do it. So better than watching the Antiques Roadshow or anything like that. That's on tomorrow. That's that. That's the show. Right, listener, viewers, hit like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. We want to get our channel growing, so please do that. Anyone else got anything to add just before we go?
No,
let's just hope for a bit of an improvement on bloody Tuesday, please.
Yes.
Let's just leave with that one from Tony. Charlie as captain, he wouldn't allow them to be that fucking pathetic.
You know what? I'll just add to that. I think one of the most disappointing things about today, and I hate to end on a bit of a gloom and doom, but when we were talking way back when about the spine of the team and all that sort of stuff, we had Dougal and Stewart in today, you were just hoping that one of them would fucking grab them by the bloody scruff of the neck. Neither of them seemed to do it. So there's still something missing in that squad. Still something missing.
I think the hope is with Stewart that, well, for me, is that he'll, as he gets fitter, he'll be able to have more of an influence on the game, hopefully.
I hope so.
Me too. Right, I think we're done for the evening. It's been a good session of therapy, that, wasn't it? It was all pent up before we came on air, weren't we?
It's good to talk.
Yeah, better to drink.
Right, everybody, enjoy your evenings anyway. Thanks for joining us on the Seasiders podcast. Do make sure you you tune in tomorrow. Charlie interview. It's going to be big. And all remains to be said is thanks for watching, thanks for downloading, and thanks for listening. And up the pool.
Up the pool.
Oh, the pool.